Okay, as continue, let me emphasize that again. Economics is based on two theories. We covered one side, and now we are looking to describe and to discover other side, which is known as theory of supply. The main description of this theory is an explanation of the behavior of supplier, the behavior of producer. Market, as you know, consists of two actors, consumer and supply. It is the context of transaction between these two sides. But this transactions is controlled by two theories: theory of demand and theory of supply. In this manner, we are planning to disarticulate this issue in many parts. Actually, our syllabus covers the definition of supply, the determinants of supply, the function of supply, the law and curve of supply, and the difference between supply and quantity supply. Okay. The total of this explanation will highlight the supply analysis and the combination of theory of supply, as we mentioned, and theory of demand will lead to the appearance of market. No supply, demand alone cannot create market. Demand without supply cannot create market. Supply without demand cannot create market. So the integration between these two phenomena will create market. So we guess that This is the second important entrance to understanding the objectives of economics. And to equip our knowledge with the understanding of goals, objectives, tasks, techniques of economics. Okay. This is a very important to highlight the main features and the main characteristics of the theory of supply. That will help us to integrate it with the theory of demand. Okay, let's start with the definition of supply. Supply of goods and services, commodity, refers to the various quantities of goods and services which a seller or supplier is willing and able to sell at different prices in a given market at a point of time, other things remaining the same. Okay. Supply refers to what? Refers to quantities of goods and services that a seller or supplier is willing to buy it at a certain price and time. At a certain price and time. Now, العرض هو عبارة عن شنو؟ عبارة عن الكميات المختلفة من السلعة أو الخدمة التي يسعى المنتج أو البائع لعرضها في السوق بمستوى معين من السعر وفي فترة زمنية معينة. إذن we can create a condition of supply synonym to the condition of demand. Of course, willingness to sell first. Willingness to sell. Or willingness to supply. And ability to supply. Willingness to supply and ability to supply. We can calculate these 2 points: desire to supply and ability to supply. We can calculate them as what? As a condition of supply. In the process of developing this slide, we will distinguish between the term of supply and the term of quantity supplied. as we distinguished before between the term of demand and term of quantity demanded. But now let's restrict our discussion with the following points: the determinants of supply. Determinants of supply. The determinants of supply refers to what? To those factors which impact on the quantity supplied, not on supply, on quantity supplied. As you see, we ignore the price as the main determinant of quantity supplied. In the process, we will determine special case to explain the role of price in formulation the quantity demanded of goods and services. Now, let's list the main determinants of supply. تعالوا نحدد نشوف شنو محددات العرض الأساسية. And to capture the relation between the determinant and quantity supplied. To find the correlation between the determinant and quantity supplied عشان نحدد العلاقة بين المحدد والكمية المعروضة. Price of goods and services. The relation between price and and quantity supplied. The behavior of supplier and or seller or producer is controlled by profit maximization or high price. High price satisfies the objectives and aims of supplier, while high price doesn't satisfy the objectives and needs of consumer. High price meets the interest of supplier, while high price doesn't meet the needs of consumer. So high price, high quantity supplied. Low price, low quantity supplied. The relation between price and quantity supplied is direct. Number 2, the price of other goods. The price of other goods leads to change in the quantity supplied. The price of substitutes leads to change in the price of original directly, while the complements lead to the change in complements inversely. Now, number 3. Prices of factors of production. High price of factors increases the cost of production. The increase of the cost of production lead to the reduction of production, respectively the reduction of quantity supplied. So the relation between the price of factors and quantity supplied is inverse. The relation between the level of technology and quantity supplied, of course, is direct. Taxes imposed by government increases the cost of production. It has a negative relation with quantity supplied. High level of taxes, low level of quantity supplied. Government also give or suggests some subsidies. The relation between quantity supplied and subsidies is direct. The support of government plays a positive role in quantity supply. Now, these are main. Add please two other. Doesn't mention. I didn't mention it. Taxes and subsidy. Taxes and subsidies imposed by government. Taxes has negative relation with quantity supplied, while subsidy has positive relation of quantity supplied. Okay. These are 4 or 5 or 6 actually determinants of supply. 6 determinants of supply. The functions of these, the function of the determinant is to discover the relation between the determinant and quantity supply, not the relation between the determinant and supply. Okay. So the quantity supplied or the behavior of supplier also is controlled by law. The function of the law of supply is to explain the relation between price and quantity supplied. That means law of supply deals with two variables, price and quantity supply. Price, as shown, determines the quantity supplied. The change in quantity supplied is resulting from the change in price. Price is the cause, quantity supplied is a result. إذن مرة أخرى أن سلوك المستهلك سلوك المنتج أو البائع محكوم بتعظيم الربح، وتعظيم الربح يعتمد على تعظيم الكمية المعروضة، وتعظيم الكمية المعروضة يعتمد على السعر. إذن هنالك علاقة قوية جدا جدا بين السعر وسلوك المنتج أو البائع. السعر هو السبب في تغير الكمية المعروضة وليس العكس. إن لم يحدث تغير في السعر لن يحدث تغير في الكمية المعروضة at all. So, the statement of the law articulates that the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. كل ما زاد السعر كل ما زادت الكمية المعروضة. The lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied. كل ما قل السعر كل ما قلت الكمية المعروضة. ومن هنا فإن العلاقة طردية بين السعر والكمية المعروضة. while other factors remain constant مع بقاء العوامل الأخرى على حالها في فترة زمنية معينة. إذن the relation between price and quantity supplied is direct. Price is independent variable, متغير مستقل. QS is dependent variable, متغير تابع للتغير في السعر. QS is depending upon the change of price. Once the relation between price and quantity supplied is direct, respectively the curve which represents this relation is direct, is positive, it is upward curve. إذا كانت العلاقة بين السعر والكمية المعروضة علاقة طردية، معناها المنحنى الذي يعبر عن هذه العلاقة منحنى موجب الميل، يتجه من أسفل إلى أعلى. لو لاحظنا أن العلاقة بين السعر والكمية المعروضة هي عكس العلاقة بين السعر والكمية المطلوبة، لذلك في contradiction between the behavior of consumer and the behavior of producer. The need of supplier is high price, is meeting by high price, but the needs of consumer is meeting by low price. So we need, in order to create market, to find common price between supplier and consumer. عشان نصنع السوق فلازم تحصل trade off، مساومة بين المنتج والمستهلك. المنتج يخفض السعر والمستهلك يزيد السعر شوية. Let us distinguish or differentiate between supply and quantity supply using the following graphs. The graph on the left side talks about curve of supply. This is a curve of supply. Curve of supply expresses the relation between price and quantity supplied. This curve contains various quantity supplied. Faces various level of price. The movement inside the curve of supply indicates the change in quantity supplied as a result of the change in price. المنحنى اللي وحده ده هو منحنى العرض. الانتقال من نقطة إلى نقطة داخل منحنى العرض هو عبارة عن تغير في الكمية المطلوبة الناتج عن التغير في السعر. The curve to the right, as you notice, we got three curves. In the middle, the main curve, and we remark the shifting of the curve to the right or to the left. لاحظ إن عندنا ثلاثة منحنيات. المنحنى الأساسي الأصيل هو في الوسط، ثم لدينا منحنى يتجه ناحية اليمين ومنحنى يتجه ناحية الشمال. The shifting of these two curves is resulting from the change of one of the determinant of supply while the level of price is constant. متى يحدث الانتقال لمنحنى العرض؟ يحدث الانتقال لمنحنى العرض عندما يكون مستوى السعر ثابت وتغير واحد من محددات العرض الأخرى بالزيادة أو النقصان. مثلا إذا زادت الإيرادات إذا زادت الضرائب سوف ينتقل منحنى العرض ناحية اليمين. إذا انخفضت الضرائب سينتقل منحنى إذا زادت الضرائب حتزيد التكاليف وينتقل منحنى العرض ناحية الشمال. إذا انخفضت الضرائب إذا انخفضت التكاليف وتزيد الكمية المعروضة وينتقل المنحنى ناحية اليمين مع ثبات مستوى السعر. The change in quantity supplied التغير في الكمية المعروضة requires statistical data بيتطلب معلومات إحصائية، بيانات إحصائية. هنا we can say the QS changed by 10 units. الكمية المعروضة تغيرت ب10. But the change of supply, it is just a description of the market nature, market situation، تفسير لحالة السوق. ممكن نقول تغيرت الكمية، تغير العرض أو زاد العرض. It's quite enough. But we can't say just changing quantity supplied without mention statistics بدون ذكر الإحصائيات. To distinguish between these two terms is very required in order to understand the issue and the function of theory. The most considerable technique in economics is known as elasticity, المرونة. What do we mean by elasticity? Elasticity is the responsiveness of quantity demanded and quantity supplied to the change in price, income, and price of other products. هي أقصد بها مدى استجابة الكمية المطلوبة والكمية المعروضة، أو تحديدا مدى استجابة الكمية المطلوبة للتغير في السعر والدخل وأسعار السلع الأخرى، ومدى استجابة الكمية المعروضة للتغير في السعر. The importance of these techniques: it helps decision makers to take an optimal decisions in determining the total product or the quantity, to planning, help them to plan their production perspective. It is very useful tool in the decision making process to take an optimal decision due to the total product, market competition, and other strategies. So, as mentioned, both the law of demand and law of supply articulate the nature of the relation between price, quantity demanded, and quantity supplied. Easier, inverse or diagram. The function of two laws is to explain the nature of relation only. Okay, tamam. They don't worry about the relation between two chains statistically. The types of elasticity are two: elasticity of demand and elasticity of supply. عندنا نوعين من أنواع المرونة: مرونة الطلب ومرونة العرض. Elasticity of supply has three forms. Elasticity of demand has three forms: price elasticity of demand، مرونة الطلب السعرية. income elasticity of demand، مرونة الطلب الداخلية. and cross elasticity of demand، مرونة الطلب التقاطعية. while elasticity of supply has one form, is known as price elasticity of supply، مرونة العرض السعرية. Totally, we face four forms of elasticity: three for demand and one for supply. Now, let's understand what stands behind the price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand calculates, focus on calculates what? The percentage change in quantity demanded resulting from the percentage change in price. البرايس elasticity of demand بتعمل شنو؟ بتحسب التغير النسبي في الكمية المطلوبة الناتج عن التغير النسبي في السعر. Income elasticity of demand also computes the percentage change in quantity demanded resulting from the percentage change in income. مرونة الطلب الداخلية وظيفتها أنها تحسب التغير النسبي في الكمية المطلوبة الناتج عن التغير النسبي في الدخل. Cross elasticity measures the percentage change in quantity demanded resulting from the percentage change in price of other products, mainly substitutes and complements. مرونة الطلب التقاطعية تحسب التغير النسبي في الكمية المعروضة في الكمية المطلوبة الناتج عن تغير أسعار السلع الأخرى. مقصود بالسلع الأخرى السلع البديلة والسلع المكملة. The last form is price elasticity of supply. مرونة العرض السعرية. مرونة العرض السعرية بتحسب التغير النسبي في الكمية المعروضة الناتج عن التغير النسبي في السعر. الناتج عن التغير النسبي في السعر. So, the definition of elasticity is the responsiveness مدى الاستجابة of quantity demanded to the change in price, income and price of other products, while and also the responsiveness of quantity supplied to the change in price. Generally, we have 4 forms. صورة عامة عندنا 4 أنواع من المرونة، 3 أنواع خاصة بمرونة الطلب ونوع خاص بمرونة العرض. مرونة الطلب عندها 3 أشكال: مرونة الطلب السعرية، مرونة الطلب الداخلية، ثم مرونة الطلب التقاطعية. بينما مرونة العرض عندها نوع واحد وهو مرونة العرض السعرية. Price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and cross elasticity of demand, and price elasticity of supply. We are planning to practice these forms of elasticity to highlight its significance in the process of decision making, to find an optimal solution or an optimal decision. Put into account, this is a very considerable technique in economics. We will try to apply these techniques in various issues in economics. The application of elasticity. نشوف تطبيقات بتاعت المرونة دي خاصة بمرونة الطلب السعرية. Look to the table. The left column shows the level of price, while the right column shows the quantity demanded. Also notice that when price is 10, original price P0, the quantity demanded equal 20, and when price is 5, the quantity demanded increased up to 50 units, because the application of the law of demand required find the coefficient of price elasticity of demand. EDB stands of the coefficient. coefficient معناها معامل مرونة الطلب السعرية. E stands for elasticity, D stands for demand, and P stands for price. مطلوب find the coefficient of price elasticity of demand، إيجاد مرونة الطلب السعرية. The second requirement is to determine the category of elasticity and prove it. حدد حالة المرونة ثم برهن عليها. طيب. Let's first state the law of coefficient of price elasticity. EDB stands for coefficient of price elasticity of demand، معامل مرونة الطلب السعرية. Equal what? Equal delta QD over delta B times P0 over QD0. ليه كيف إيجاد معامل مرونة الطلب السعرية؟ إنه التغير في الكمية المطلوبة مقسوم على التغير في السعر مضروب في السعر الأصلي على الكمية المطلوبة الأصلية. So delta QD is the relation between the new QD and the past QD. 50 the new QD and the past the original QD is 20. 50 minus 20 equal 30, and delta B التغير في السعر equal the new price minus the past price. 5 minus 10 equal negative 5. Let's apply. After the application, the calculation, we got EDB equal negative 3. Why the coefficient of price elasticity is negative? Because of the inverse relation between price and quantity demanded. Negative 3 emphasizes that the correction of the law of demand. Once the relation between them is negative, then the coefficient is negative respectively. So usually if like this exercise is given, we expect these two questions: how to find the coefficient of price elasticity of demand, and to determine the category of elasticity, and to prove it. The second question is how to determine the category of elasticity. Let's first the condition of determination the category of elasticity states the difficulties in determining this category once the EDB is less than or negative, less than 1 or negative. So we need to convert the coefficient from negativity to positivity by putting the EDB in absolute value. هنضع لا يمكننا تحديد حالة المرونة ما دام معامل المرونة سلبي، ولذلك هنضع معامل المرونة في القيمة المطلقة لكي يتحول من سلبي from negative 3 to 3 in order to determine the category of elasticity. We consider there are 5 forms of categories. Each category has 2 conditions. Its EDB and the relation between the percentage relation between the change in price and the change in QD. For elastic demand في حالة الطلب مرن EDB must be more than 1. معامل مرونة الطلب السعرية مفروض يكون أكبر من 1 إذا كان الطلب طلب مرن. شرط the next condition التغير النسبي في الكمية المطلوبة مفروض يكون أكبر من التغير النسبي في السعر. التغير النسبي في السعر مفروض يكون أكبر من التغير النسبي في الكمية المطلوبة. إذا توفر الشرطان إنه ال EDB هتكون أكبر من 1 والتغير النسبي في السعر يكون أكبر من التغير النسبي في الكمية المطلوبة then we can call it elastic demand. طيب the next form is inelastic demand. طلب غير مرن. الطلب غير مرن when the EDB is less than 1 and the percentage change in price is less than the percentage change in QD. Move to the third one is unitary elastic demand. طلب أحادي المرونة. The EDB of unitary elasticity equal 1. معامل الطلب أحادي المرونة بيساوي 1. Respectively, the percentage change in price equals the percentage change in quantity demanded. Perfect elastic المرونة التامة. المرونة التامة اللي هي ال EDB بتاعها بيكون infinite. EDB is infinite. The change in QD is infinite. تغيير لا نهائي في الكمية المطلوبة. The last one is perfect inelastic. عديم المرونة. QD, the change in QD equal is constant. Perfect inelastic is EDB equal 0. معامل الطلب عديم المرونة بيساوي صفر. طيب in case of perfect elastic, small up, in case of perfect elastic, the price is constant while the quantity demanded changes to infinite. In case of perfect inelastic, the QD is constant while the price is changing. There are 5 categories of elasticity. These are the same categories for supply: elastic supply, inelastic supply, unitary supply, perfect elastic of supply, and perfect inelastic of supply. حالات المرونة 5: طلب مرن، طلب غير مرن، طلب أحادي المرونة، طلب لا نهائي المرونة، وطلب عديم المرونة. These are the categories of elasticity. The application of elasticity of supply. Actually, the application of price elasticity of supply. This table of supply shows the positive relation between price and quantity supplied. High price leads to high quantity supplied, and low price leads to low quantity supplied. To calculate the coefficient of price elasticity of supply, EPS stands for coefficient of price elasticity of supply, equal delta QS over delta P multiplied by P0 over QS0, where 10 is P0 and 50 is QS0. Now, the result of this calculation gives EAPS equal 1.5. It is positive value because of the direct relation between price and quantity supplied. Delta QS equal 30, actually minus 30. Delta B equal negative 5 multiplied by 10 over 50. It will be 6 multiplied by okay 6 multiplied by 10 over 5, that's 1.5. The category is elastic supply because ESP is more than 1. Generally, this application of how to calculate EDB and EBG and EPS, as we mentioned before, it is very helpful for managers to take an optimal decision to determine the next quantity supplied or to determine the next quantity demanded. The analysis of market, very important issue in the private sector. For example, if the price decreased from 5 to 2, what is the next QS? How to calculate it? This is very important. Application of elasticity. Actually, application of price elasticity of demand using the table of elasticity. Using the table of elasticity. Let's jump over market equilibrium أو توازن السوق. Has practically looked to the table. The table contains 3 rows, one for price, one for QD, and one for QS. The levels of price are 5. Respectively, the levels of QD and QS are 5. When price, according to the law of demand, when price is 1, QD equal 10, but QS equal 0. It's an application of law of demand and law of supply. Low price, high quantity demanded, and low quantity supplied. Now, notice that when price equals to 1, QD equals to 10, and QS equal 0. That means QD is more than QS. Shortage, deficit, market is suffering. في مشكلة في السوق إن الكمية المطلوبة أكبر من الكمية المعروضة. في أزمة في السلعة. Shortage. Market tries to accommodate this situation by increasing price from 1 to 2. Respectively, the QD reduces from 10 to 8, while the QS increased from 0 to 4. When price is 4, and 5, QD less than QS. الكمية المطلوبة أقل من الكمية المعروضة. Market suffers stagnation. السوق بيعاني من حالة الركود. كمية معروضة أكبر من الكمية المطلوبة. Now, the prices 1, 2, 4, 5 leads to abnormal situation in market. We mean by abnormal situation in market when QD more or less than QS. We are looking for QD equal QS. The price that makes QD equal QS is 3. When the price 3, QD equal 6 and QS equal 6. We call that price equilibrium. It makes the equilibrium in market. The equilibrium means QD equal QS. And 6 is known as quantity equilibrium. 6 is known as quantity equilibrium. So the condition of market equilibrium is QD equal QS or QS equal QD. We can express the situation of market equilibrium using the graphical methods of market equilibrium by application of these data. Then we will see the intersection point between the curve of supply and the curve of demand is facing 3, the price equilibrium, and 6 as quantity equilibrium. Okay? Now we are going to apply mathematical methods to find the price equilibrium and quantity equilibrium. نحن الرسوم الرياضي لإيجاد سعر التوازن وكمية التوازن. For example, given QD equal 96 negative 4P and QS equal negative 12 plus 2P. The question is find the price and quantity equilibrium. QD equal 96 minus 4P and QS equal negative 12 minus 2P. Find the price and quantity equilibrium. The condition of equilibrium شرط التوازن بتاع السوق QD equal QS. Quantity demanded must equal quantity supplied, or quantity supplied must equal quantity demanded. QS equal negative 12 minus 2B and QD equal 96 minus 4B. So therefore 12 plus 2B, 96 minus 4B equal to negative 12 plus 2B. Let's move and replace. We found 6P equal 108. P equal 108 over 6. The price equal 18. We are not sure yet, that is price equilibrium. If that is fair price equilibrium, so the application or the substitution of this price in both QD and QS must result the same quantity. Now if P equal 18, then QD equal 96 minus 14 times 18 minus 4 times 18. Instead of P we substitute 18. QD equal 24. Also by substituting 18 we will get negative 12 plus 2 times 18, which is 24. Therefore quantity equilibrium equal 24. Therefore the price which makes QD equal QS is 18. Then 18 is price equilibrium. This is how to find the price and quantity equilibrium using the solution of two equations. Now below the graphical expression of equilibrium. The intersection point